Unfinished business and notices. Chairman Jackson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I would like to welcome a constituent and a friend from Jackson, Tennessee, Mr. Richard Archie, who is seated up here in the gallery. He is here to visit today to watch the proceedings. And Mr. Archie and my wife, Marilyn, grew up together in Milan and graduated high school very close to each other. And his mother was my wife's favorite teacher. So also, Mr. Archie is here to, he's always walked the halls here for several years and helped us to understand the Second Amendment and constitutional rights. So welcome, Mr. Archie.
Welcome, Mr. Archie. Mr. Clerk.
Item 17, Senate Bill 1148 by Senator White on third and final consideration. Mr. Speaker, the House bill is on the desk.
Senator White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to conform and substitute to House Bill 25.
Proper motion made by Senator White to conform and substitute Senate Bill 1148 to House Bill 25. Without objection, we're on House Bill 25. Senator White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This legislation proves to provide a process through which an individual using justified force may assert their legal rights to use such force. By allowing the defendant to request a stay of civil proceedings during a criminal investigation or a criminal proceeding, an individual will be permitted to clear their name of a criminal allegations before addressing a civil action. The defendant also can request an immunity hearing that will take place within 40 days of the filed civil proceedings. With that, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Senator White renews her motion on House Bill 25, third and final considerations. Proper motion with proper second. Discussion on House Bill 25. Senator Ackberry, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My only concern is that sometimes it can take years to adjudicate the criminal charge, whereas and there's a totally different standard that's required for the civil case. So I just don't know why this is necessary, or why we would do something like this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator White.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This law is necessary to avoid frivolous lawsuits. If the person is with a criminal trial, of course, this can be very expensive for the defendant. And so we're just trying to speed along the process and put a process in place.
Additional questions or comments on House Bill 25? Leader Yarborough, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The sponsor would yield.
Sponsor yields.
So I'm just trying to, I was taken by the remarks of the sponsor that this is an attempt to stop frivolous lawsuits. So we're saying that somebody is going to be indicted for a criminal offense and have criminal proceedings that are significant enough in duration that they require a new procedure, and there's not, and a civil lawsuit based on those criminal charges would be frivolous. Is that I'm having trouble seeing how that's even possible.
Chairman White, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Speaker. The immunity hearing is what we're trying to get at, to see if within 40 days of when the suit is filed, was, that judge ruling in the immunity hearing, whether the case should be dismissed, and that would help with cost for the defendant instead of doing a lengthy trial.
Senator Yarborough.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And if the sponsor would yield for an additional question.
She yields.
When does the stay lift? Does it require the termination of proceedings, or is it just the end of that 40 days, or how long does it go?
Senator White.
Of course, it is required to be 40 days after the suit is filed, and then the hearing, the judge can prove, if the defendant proves that it was an use of force, then the judge can rule that, the the civil trial can be thrown out.
Senator Yarborough, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I understand what the sponsor is trying to do, but I believe that we're just creating a process that is far too cumbersome and, frankly, just complicating something that I think our law actually addresses right now and does not require this type of intervention. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Additional questions, comments? Senator White. Senator White renews her motion on House Bill 25. All those in favor vote aye when the bell rings. All those opposed vote no. Mr. Clerk. Gardenhire votes aye. Kelsey votes aye. Has every member voted? Mr. Clerk.
Ayes 26, 5 nays.
House Bill 25, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Without objection, the motion to reconsider goes to table.